Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, how much are the best riders at the Tour de France earning and how does that compare to other sports? Some of the figures, they are staggering.
They are. Plus, the cycling fans who are ruining cycling, the best climbing performance of all time, the start of the Transcontinental, and how you can put yourself in with a chance of getting one of 2 pro contracts that are up for grabs. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that Tour de France sprint finishes aren't getting any safer.
That was from the finish of stage 13, which marked the second win of the race for Jasper Philipsen. We also learnt that US basketball legend Lebron James, already a stakeholder in Canyon, has now partnered up with them in an effort to get more people on bikes.
Yeah, he's been a long, massive cycling advocate, hasn't he? And this latest collaboration, called Find My Freedom, can only be a great thing for our sport. Finally, we learnt that Tadej Pogačar is not only the best cyclist, currently at least, at the Tour de France, he's also the best paid.
How much does he earn each year? Well, back in January, La Gazzetta dello Sport published a report on the top riders' earnings, estimating that Pogačar receives €6 million a year through his team's salary alone, which is a little over $6.5 million.
On top of that base salary, he's got a number of other personal endorsements. They include Enovit, Met helmets, DMT shoes, as well as a brand of mineral water, plus a Silicon Valley tech company, and the Slovenian Tourist Board.
And that'll be similar for a lot of the top riders, a team salary that makes up the bulk of annual income, but personal sponsorship on top of that, and then a little top up with prize money and appearance money and bonuses.
So, Pogačar's annual income is going to be a bit higher than €6 million. But if we take that sum and make some calculations, that equates to €500,000 a month or €115,000 per week.
Or 16,500 a day. But my favourite is that it works out at just under €700 an hour. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah, that's definitely above the minimum wage, isn't it?
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. I reckon, though, I'd have to ask for my salary to be paid in hourly. Just like a constant drip feed, €700 every hour. Do just nicely.
That would do nicely, wouldn't it? However you break it down, though, it is a decent chunk of money, isn't it? But how does it compare to the best paid athletes in other sports?
Well, if we estimate that Pogačar's total income, including endorsements, is around $8 million, it would mean that he'd need to earn around 13 times as much as he does now just to make it into the top 10.
Right, that's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, this is according to Forbes magazine, who compiled an annual list of the world's best paid athletes. In 10th place this year is American quarterback Lamar Jackson. He reportedly earns just over $100 million. The top 4 this year, well, in 4th it's Lebron James, Canyon's new partner, who earned $128 million last year. Lionel Messi is 3rd at $135 million. Then it's the golfer Jon Rahm on $218 million. And at the top of the table, well, it's 39-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo,
who earns $200 million from his Saudi football team, with $60 million for personal endorsements on top of that.
So $260 million in total. So let's do those same calculations that we just did for Pogačar. That works out at $22 million a month, $5 million a week, or $714,000 a day. Or, the way you'd like to get paid, Conor, it would work out at $30,000 per hour. 24/7, 365.
That's definitely above minimum wage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Ronaldo earns Pogačar's yearly salary basically in a little over a week, that is nuts.
It's absolutely nuts. If only we could all have just 1 week.
That'd be
like
nice,
Cristiano Ronaldo.
A week like Ronaldo.
Back to cyclists though, the Gazzetta report suggests that the second best paid cyclist is Primož Roglič on €4.5 million, with Jonas Vingegaard in 3rd on €4 million.
That feels like the wrong way round, doesn't it?
Doesn't
The
it?
highest of the non-GC riders though is Mathieu van der Poel, also on €4 million. Although it'll be interesting to know how much extra he gets from Canyon, with whom he's recently signed a 10-year personal deal.
Yeah, probably a fair bit on top, I'd
say
imagine. Wout van Aert is on $500,000 less than his arch nemesis, whilst fellow cyclocrosser Tom Pidcock is the best paid rider at the Ineos Grenadiers, according to that report. Although the €2.7 million quoted there is somewhat less than I've heard from other sources in the past.
They've both got their Red Bull deals as well, though, haven't they?
Van Aert and Pidcock, yeah, very true.
And what about the other end of the pay scale? What's the lowest salary on the Tour de France? Well, it's hard to know exactly, but what we do know is that the UCI minimum wage for first-year male pros is €34,000 and €42,000 thereafter. Both of those are set to increase marginally, actually, next year too.
Are there any riders at the Tour de France that are on that minimum wage? I'd wager not, but it might be a couple who are on 5-figure salaries as opposed to 6 or 7. But that's professional sport. There's always a big pay discrepancy between the best and the rest.
As we know, only too well done.
Yes, unfortunately. What about the women's side of the sport then? Well, there have been some very significant improvements in team budgets and therefore wages in the last few years, but you don't have to go too far back to find a large percentage of riders who had to work part-time just to fund themselves in the sport of cycling.
There is a minimum wage amongst World Tour teams, but it was only introduced a couple of years ago. As of 2024, that stands at €29,000 for first-year pros, €34,000 after that. But you will find riders, sometimes at very big races, who are not paid anything if they're in a UCI Women's Continental team.
Yeah, which does need to improve, doesn't it? As for the top earners, well, there were rumours flying around at the start of this year that Demi Vollering, whose contract at SD Worx finishes this year, was being offered €1 million by UAE team ADQ.
Her future team has since been all but confirmed as being FDJ Suez, and we haven't heard any figures, but if it's anywhere close to €1 million, she'll be by far the best paid female cyclist ever.
She would. All right then, let us know in the comments whether you are surprised at the earnings of pro cyclists, more than you thought, or less than you thought.
Bear in mind that they put their lives at risk every time they go out training and racing, so I'm unfortunately reminded all too often.
Yeah, and it's also a short career as well, isn't it? Anyway, we look forward to reading your comments under the show this week. But speaking of comments, what's been really nice the last few weeks is to see them coming in under the GCN Plus documentaries, which are now available through our YouTube membership. So under Slow Cycling Episode 1, the Big CK510 said, great to rewatch my favourite GCN Plus originals. I too hope for more slow cycling films as the GCN team can ramp up new productions. Keep measuring those miles in smiles.
Whilst under the Himalayas film of Cy at Greg JC said these documentaries make time on the trainer fly by.
Well, glad to hear it, Greg. So a quick reminder, if you'd like to be able to watch the 50 cycling documentaries that we've got up, you'll need to either join our Casquette or our Bidon tier of membership. So click on the join button on our homepage on YouTube and all the details will be there. To those who've already signed up, thank you, merci, dankeschön, grazie mille. It is genuinely massively appreciated.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we'll start with that fan.
That fan being Chris Man.
Yeah, or Chip Man, if you're American.
I guess so.
Stage 14 of the race was a cracker to watch, but it was also slightly marred by the action of one fan on the route who threw crisps and booed Pogačar and Vingegaard as they rode past.
French police did intervene and arrest the bloke for aggravated violence. And the Cyclist Union are apparently starting legal action.
Bit of salt and vinegar. Anyone? See what I did there?
I do see what you did there, yes. I just forgot to chuckle.
I liked it from the right. But anyway, on a serious note, I mean, why you'd actually go and support the race and then behave so negatively is kind of just beggars belief. And I'm glad the person in question will face repercussions.
Yes, me too. Moving on to some more positive news now from the Tour de France. And we've got to say, it has been a pretty exciting race for the most part as the GC battle hots up. Now, as I mentioned in yesterday's Racing News show, the speeds and estimated power outputs have really been quite incredible. So Pogačar took chunks out of Marco Pantani's Plateau de Bay record to take victory on stage 15.
He was 3 minutes 30 seconds faster than Pantani, who set the record in 1998. Pogačar managed to scale the 15.8 kilometre ascent in 39 minutes 58 seconds at an average speed of 23.8 kilometres an hour on a climb with an average gradient close to 8%.
Right, yeah, and I also noticed in the last 5Ks he averaged 26 after his attack. So to say that the racing has been full gas would really be an understatement. And those who've already been battling the Tour time cut are probably not going to want to look at the stages that are coming up because they are brutal.
So on Friday, they rode up the highest paved mountain pass in Europe, and then on Saturday, they've got what I think is going to be an absolutely savage stage on some of my old training roads near Nice. Basically just, it's a sort of route if I'd have done from Nice that I'd have been like, I'm not going to make it.
Never do that again.
I'm never doing that again.
Pray for the sprinters, pray for the gruppetto, basically. It will be a great watch from the comfort of our sofa, though.
Yeah.
Away from the Tour de France, this weekend sees the start of the Transcontinental race, as racers tackle a huge route that goes from Roubaix to Istanbul. And it's got a pretty stacked field of riders, the Transcontinental this year, with all three from last year's podium taking part, and the largest women's field ever.
I've always wanted to give the Transcontinental a go, but
Have you?
I have actually. I just think it's an incredible challenge to go across Europe, but it's definitely not one to be taken lightly.
No, it's not.
There's 4 checkpoints across Europe, including points this year in Slovenia, Bosnia, Kosovo and Turkey, plus some tougher off-road sections in this year's race too, which will add an element of difficulty as riders aim to be the fastest to cross Europe.
I presume you are going to be dot watching throughout then.
I love a bit of dot watching. Enjoy the Tour Divide this year. I'll definitely be dot watching Transcontinental.
From the comfort of your sofa.
Again, from the comfort of my sofa.
Sure. Another race, which is arguably now the biggest ultra cycling event, is going to kick off this coming Sunday. So if you want to dot watch, you can do so from then.
There's also the Olympics just around the corner, and I love hearing the many stories of athletes making it to the Games against adversity. But I think the story of 2 Afghani cycling sisters, Yildiz and Fariba Hashima, trumps them all.
They were both on the last flight out of Kabul 3 years ago when the Taliban took power in Afghanistan. Since then, women have been banned from all sports in the country by the ruling regime. And before that, they faced many challenges, of course, as they took the sport of cycling up in their home country.
Yeah, so the IOC have invited 6 athletes, 3 men and 3 women, to the Games after consulting with Afghanistan's now exiled Olympic Committee, and Yildiz and Fariba are part of that squad. They'll be travelling to Paris after they actually relocated to Italy thanks to an Italian government-sponsored flight from Kabul when Taliban rule swept to power.
This is mainly due, wasn't it, to the help of previous women's world road title winner Alessandra Capellotto. They've continued racing since then, finishing 33rd and 39th at the World Gravel Championships, and Fariba took 4th in the Asian Games TT. After all they've been through, they now head to the Olympics, which must feel incredible. And we here wish them all the very best.
Definitely, what an amazing story. Competition time now though, and we do have some winners to announce. This is your chance to win one of 3 Swytch Go kits. And drum roll please, because the winners are...
in no particular order, Andy Hugum, Phil Olsen and Christian Clausen.
There we go. We'll be in touch soon to get those kits on their way to you. A full e-bike conversion kit, an extra 250 watts.
Nice.
Just got added to the bike of your choice.
I could do with a bit of that myself sometimes. I certainly need it actually, plus a bit more than that, if I was to try and win the Zwift Academy this year, which is back very soon indeed. It's one of the most unique pathways, really, into the World Tour via a talent ID program on Zwift that literally anybody can start if they'd like.
Yeah, this year's Academy will run from the 5th of August to November the 3rd with 6 workouts and 2 races needing to be completed to be considered eligible for the further rounds of the competition.
And even if you aren't chasing a World Tour contract like Conor and I, it is a really good way to get involved with some structured training at this time of year, and also to experience World Tour training and testing methods, which give great insight into your sort of own strengths and your own fitness levels.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck everyone taking part, and we'll be following the progress of the Academy closely. Moving on now though, and the cost of Strava just got cheaper if you're part of a cycling mad family. Strava's family plan has launched, allowing you to have 4 subscription plans with 1 payment. So that kind of works out, saving around 50% on average compared to the price of an individual plan when shared amongst 4 people.
From their own research, Strava say that more than half of athletes are motivated by seeing friends and family work out, which was effectively the motivation behind this family plan.
I can definitely agree with that. I get such FOMO when I see people out there being active. Yeah, I have to head out straight away. Preferably some new shoes from Canyon, by the looks of it. So these launched last week, the Tempr CFR Rose shoes, 260 grams for the pair. These look pretty cool, I've got to say. And they do them in my size. So that is a win. Massive.
Well, it always
shoes.
helps, doesn't it, when shoes come in your own size. Canyon say that they aim to design a shoe that doesn't sacrifice comfort levels, but maintain the levels of performance that is expected of a top-level road shoe.
Something I found in the past actually is you can get really super stiff solid shoe, but actually comfort-wise, you start to suffer
I would
a bit,
agree.
especially in hot conditions. So yeah, looks like a good bet if you're looking for a top-notch road shoe. And comfort is not something you'll be sacrificing on Orbea's latest adventure bike either, the Kemen. So Orbea's latest e-bike comes in 2 different versions, the Tour for city use and the Adventure for touring.
Both have capacity to be fully loaded up, have a 630 watt per hour battery and a Shimano EP6 motor. Integrated lighting system too, which is something we are seeing more and more on e-bikes. And I love that front rack.
Yeah, I love that. I love a bit of cargo netting on a rack. Anyway, before we move on to hack or bodge now, we have got our latest limited edition jerseys here. If you just give me 1 sec, I'll just leave it down. shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. You want to get a lovely...
We could have just put the jersey a bit closer so you didn't have to walk over and grab it during the show, didn't we? Yeah, we thought that yellow would be the colour to go for this month to celebrate that big race that's currently going on over in France.
Yeah, Bush is having a lot better weather than we are here, as you may tell from my hair, as I've just walked through an absolute torrential downpour.
Well, half an hour ago, Conor looked even more like a drowned rat than he does now.
It's slowly drying as I get through the show.
Basically, he's just been putting his head underneath the hand dryer in the toilet.
Yeah, to crouch the whole way down. Anyway, back to the jerseys. You have to be quick with these because they're selling fast. Once they're gone, they're gone. Don't forget, you can also buy a set, so you get the bib shorts with them for 10% extra saving. So there you go.
Yeah. Also, over at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com, you will find both the t-shirts that Conor and I are wearing on the show today, as well as a whole host of others that are in our French collection. So the shop actually is another way for us to fund the free content that goes out for you. So if you'd like to support us in that, that is a great way to do it. It is now time for hack/bodge of the week. Don't forget, you can go to upload.globalcyclingnetwork.com to submit your hacks or bodges or any that you see around to get involved in this part of the show. First up this week, this one from Freddie Energizer. Dry my GCN jersey and jacket quickly after a ride or a quick wash and prepare for the next day's ride. Not really a hack, just needed to hang my stuff somewhere and the fan was there to serve. Dry it in jiffy when I turned it on. Or dried in a jiffy, I should say.
Yeah, I think that's a fair play hack. I
mean, hack straight away.
I'd go hack. My only concern is I hope it was a quick ride. Because if it was a long ride for me, I'd be fanning a very smelly jersey around the house, which absolutely stinks.
Could take quite a long time. No, I think that would probably significantly speed up the drying process, wouldn't it? Did you ever do it in hotel rooms during races where you would just leave the hairdryer aimed into your shoes to try and burn in the out?
I've got like definite memories of teammates staying up late into the night with hairdryers in the bathroom with their shoes, like peering out of the shoes.
Yeah. I used to take tape with me and I'd just tape the button on and aim it at the shoe and tape it to the floor. So
really?
I don't want to be standing there with it. I want to be resting.
I'd be scared it's on fire.
Well, I didn't leave the room. I sort of put a timer on to make sure I remember. I mean, it's hard to not remember when the hairdryer's going full gas.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a hack from both me and Conor for Freddie.
It is awful when you forget to dry your shoes though. Remember that as well. Oh man. Anyway, Mac de Sancha up next. Generated. This is quite an interesting one. Okay, so generated his bike upgrade while bike packing in the Alps. I had to take a shortcut over a mountain pass to get to Morzine. The descent is around 30-38% incline. Also rocky. Required a lot of speed, control, and avoid a crash after puncture. Fortunately, I destroyed my front cooling finned brake pads riding my gravel bike on the blues and greens at Super Morzine. So I was using a cheap front pad that got the calipers very, very hot. I ended up using a spare napkin and rubber band to fashion a cooling apparatus. It worked really well and I got down the mountain a bit faster. I call it wet tech. Like ice tech, but wetter.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to understand exactly what's going on here. I understand the concept of the cooling that you need. I saw it on Pogačar's bike actually, which incidentally I took a look at the Tour de France just before the start. But if that works, my goodness, that is a hack and a half.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it did if it allowed him to descend quicker than he was doing previously because they were no longer overheating the rotors.
I mean, I know Sire's got a big thing against zip ties. I kind of feel elastic bands
might be next level for
I was like next level.
Sire's not here, we can do what we want.
Yeah, we'll give it a hack then.
Well, it's a hack from purpose.
Yeah,
going well so far. Brian Nicholson wrote in saying, I'm a 6'3" tall, or I am 6'3" tall, and I've got one leg longer than the other by 3/4 of an inch. Many years ago, I made these spacers to make the inseam reach to the pedals the same on both sides.
That's a kind of another hack, really.
I'd say so. I mean, I believe I'm right in saying you can get aftermarket shims which do this for you, but obviously that would cost money. And just looking at this, I mean, I presume the cost of those pieces of plastic is not going to be particularly much.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the exact measurement. They've lasted for years.
Yeah, happy days.
Ticking all the boxes.
So there's 3 hacks from 3 so far. What are we finishing with?
Well, we're finishing with Mike the Animal. So this is a wheel that Mike the Animal just trued while watching the GCN Show episode 600. I love the name Mike the Animal. I do love it.
Well, I'm not sure that Mike should be the person that claims to be the animal. I sort of feel like this is something that if other people say Mike the Animal or somebody else says Conor the Legend, that's fine, but I wouldn't be putting Conor the Legend on my own. Well, of course I wouldn't, but I wouldn't be putting Dan the Legend on my own YouTube. But anyway, interesting that people sometimes foam rollering and sometimes truing wheels. Let us know what else you do whilst you're watching the GCN show. But sorry, Conor, carry on.
Yeah, so Mike the Animal, he has basically used some spokes that are laying around. So this is a wheel that was trued, and it looks fairly normal at first, but the longer you look, the weirder it gets. So it's a 630 size rim with 36 spoke holes. Paired with a track hub with 32 spoke holes using 24 spokes and a 2-cross configuration. So before you judge the total bodge, let me explain that I calculated the lengths of the spokes. There are 6 different lengths used to make it work. It's not an easy task. I had these parts kind of lying around and used them to save them from scrap. So I think that's a really good job, to be fair. Like the pattern,
I mean, it looks
amazing.
It looks brilliant. I'm not taking anything away from that. There are 24 spokes in a hub that's designed for 32 and a rim that's designed for 36. I'm not sure I would trust. I certainly wouldn't be going down blue and green runs in Morsey on that wheel.
But I mean, the wheel's built. Whether it stands the test of time, I think needs to be. It's like a long-term hack. Whether it gets the accolade or not.
Maybe he's Mike the Animal because he just doesn't mind taking big risks.
Yeah, it could be.
Or maybe he's a brilliant wheel truer who knows that this is going to be perfectly safe to ride. But just for the sake of having one bodge in the show each week, I'm going to say bodge.
Oh yeah, I'll go bodge as well.
No, no.
Same reason.
Poor Mike the Animal. Sorry, Mike.
We're just being mean, really.
Yeah, right. Let us know in the comments how sturdy it is and if you are actually riding it or not.
Yep. Caption competition time now, and your chance to win coveted GCN Camelback water bottle. Who got it last week, Dan? There's a few suggestions.
There were a lot. I did a Command F of Caption, and there were almost 100 entries last week. If you want to enter Caption competition, by the way, best to put Caption in it, because that's how I tend to sift them out from the other non-Caption comments. Anyway, this was last week's photo of Jonas Vingegaard looking up to the sky during the Tour de France, just before the start. And our winner this week came from Zwifting with Demon Hunter. They put Caption, "Hey Jesus, what bike would you ride?" It might be some context to this if you didn't watch last week's GCN show. I don't know why we got onto it, but we started contemplating what bike Jesus would ride. I think it was a previous comment. And Si said, "I don't know, but the devil would ride a recumbent."
I think Jesus would ride like a big bike packing rig. He's got he went on a lot of journeys.
Yeah.
He needs to travel around.
I can see him doing a Transcontinental.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously.
Right, what have we got this week?
Yeah, this week we have got, there's another tour-related photo. This time it's Jonas Pogačar and vingegaard on the start line.
Yep, we have Pogačar in the middle in yellow. We've got vingegaard on the right-hand side of the shot in green, and then the polka dots on the left is Jonas Vingegaard. As ever, I will get you started. You might want to turn the volume off for this.
Yeah, we did have some rehearsals.
Green to the left of me, polka to the right. Here I am, stuck in the Portaloo queue.
That's good, yeah. It's
Cheers,
a
mate.
bit better than the last one.
Oh, I'm happy with that. much better than rehearsal. Anyway, obviously you can't sing in the comments, but you can leave a witty caption down there, from which we'll pick a winner next week.
Comment of the week time now, starting off with last week's GCN show, and Jonas Vieth said, the only thing damaging the image of the sport is the UCI itself, and therefore should pay 200 Swiss francs to me.
Yes, this was talking about Julien Bernard, wasn't it, who stopped to kiss his girlfriend, or wife, I think it was, apologies, during the time trial of the Tour de France, only be told that he was harming the image of the sport by the UCI and slapped with a 200 Swiss franc fine. Callum S put, with that bunny hopping, I think the Tour needs a trial stage. Well, wouldn't that be something?
That would.
Gravel, cobbles, trials.
Yeah, I think things would get pretty interesting then. Not sure the riders would be quite up for that.
No.
But anyway. C. Pollock said, Dan, trust us, we're national level cyclists in mountain bike. Also, Dan breaks his ankle right on grass.
Yes, I did see that comment and it did make me chuckle. I am embarrassed actually, it was such a silly crash.
It's always the way though, isn't it?
I blame it on the e-bike.
Yeah.
Underneath, can we descend as fast as riders at the Tour de France, the Galibier Challenge? Matej Stankovic wrote, I'm not going to take crazy risks. Proceeds to overtake the orange van through the corner. Well, that's Hank for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whilst Mr. Radelfi put, at no point in my cycling life would I ever feel safe going 110 kilometres per hour. Props to the pros for making it look easy. What was the fastest you ever went in a race?
I think it was about 115, 120 in the Tour de Suisse stage.
It's always either in Austria or Switzerland.
Yeah.
It's something about the nature of quite wide, well-surfaced roads that don't have too many corners for some reason in that part of the wood. Because my top speed was also in the similar range, I think about 115. And I have told this story before, but it was the one time in my cycling career where I just started to think, I hope the mechanic's done a good job on this bike. I never used to really think about the danger, but I just thought, I don't want anything to go wrong now. This would be disastrous.
Yeah, I just remember it was so fast. And you go through tunnels as well on that this road. So you just wallop into these tunnels and suddenly just one twitch of the bars feels like it's going to take you a mile off. I was like,
It was the one time I was in a peloton where there were quite significant gaps deliberately left open. I think a lot of riders were thinking the same thing. Anyway, moving on. Underneath, how did this woman change cycling for millions? Bat Perio, but I've always been baffled by the fact that a bike for a 5-year-old would weigh more than mine. Isla bikes are amazing and they gave my son so much joy. His next one as he grows up will be an Isla bike again. They are fantastic bikes. My younger son Jude had a few Isla bikes over the years and they are so much lighter than a standard child's bike. It really makes it much easier to get confidence as a young child.
yeah, definitely. Tony Bob said, may I say what a lovely woman, kudos to Isla. So I think we can all echo that.
Meanwhile, underneath, we've made these mistakes so that you don't have to. Warhammer WH put a GCN video with warm, sunny and dry weather. Must be that week of the year then.
Yeah, pretty literally was that week of the year, as you can tell from me today. My trousers are soaked here. But
it's not very nice outside, but rest of this week.
It's looking good, yeah.
Pretty
I'll
good.
dry out for the rest of the week.
Talking about the rest of this week, I'll let you know what's coming up on GCN On It Now. On Wednesday, the Vegetable Performance Enhancer. This is something you did, Conor, wasn't it?
Yep, so I tried out beetroot juice, which many kind of cycling pros and also endurance athletes have used as a potential performance gain. There's some people who say it does make a difference. I thought I'd try it out for myself.
I had beet shots back in 2011.
Yeah.
Because I'd read some research that suggested it might benefit me. I got some very weird looks from my teammates in the bus. What are you having beet shots for?
Well, stay tuned for the video, see if it worked. I went absolutely beetroot mad for a week.
Just as a word of warning, if you are to consume beetroot in any form for the first time because you think it's going to give you a performance enhancement, the next day after you've sat on the toilet, you're not dying. The first time afterwards, I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. Before I realised what it might be.
Yeah, it's a little bit disconcerting.
Very disconcerting. On Thursday, we're going to look at the Tour's most spectacular climb.
Yep, so Hank and Manon have been out in the Alps, touring around, having a great whale of a time. They took on Lassettes de Montvernier. So that'd be pretty cool. See what they've been up to on that climb. On Friday, we've also got something pretty cool to watch out for. Can't say too much about it.
It's under embargo, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm allowed to say it's from one of our bike partners who
Yeah.
help sponsor the channel here on GCN.
But don't reveal any more.
I can't say any more.
Yeah, it's a secret video to look forward to on Friday. Saturday, Cy is looking at why we look at the world from the car's perspective, talking to activists, researchers and traffic experts about that. He's quite passionate about that subject at our side, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see kind of what he's found here, because he's spoken to politicians as well and trying to get kind of their take on what we can do or what society can do as a whole to try and encourage more people to ride a bike and also make cycling safer as well. So really worthwhile video.
Cy is our Lebron James, isn't he? Campaigning for more people on bikes,
Yeah.
more people on two wheels.
And then to counter that video on Sunday, we have Hank trying to ride up Alpe d'Huez on a city bike, a city rental bike, and see if he can do it.
I have seen some footage of this, and I cannot wait to tune into that on Sunday.
We heard it was very, very hot when he attempted this too, 38 degrees. And I don't think I've ever seen Hank and Manon come back from a shoot and Manon say, I can't believe he actually did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's done a lot of silly stuff, but this one, it sounds like this one was kind of takes the biscuit.
Well, make sure you do not miss that one then. I wonder how the brakes fared on the way back down. Did they ride back down?
I'm actually not sure. We should ask that. They should have done a separate video riding back down so we could manage it.
Can we go as fast as Tour de France pros on a city bike? That would have been a great video. All right, well, that's the end of this week's GCN show. If you've enjoyed it, we'd massively appreciate it if you click on that thumbs up icon, which is just down below. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks for that, Conor.
Yep, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks, Dan. See you in the next one.